What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 10 Monday Night Football. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. Okay guys, in this video, I'm going to go over my top DFS picks for this Monday Night Football showdown between the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at the quarterback position. I like Nick Foles from the Chicago Bears playing the Minnesota Vikings, who have the second worst defense overall, and they give up the fourth most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Nick Foles has averaged 16 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 2 rush attempts per game. He scored 25 and 18 fantasy points in the last 2 games. He's projected at 17 fantasy points here tonight, and he's 9,800 DraftKings salary. Vegas thinks there's going to be 43.5 points scored in this game, with the Chicago Bears trailing by 3.5. So fantastic matchup here. It's a passing game script. So I like Nick Foles here versus the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. One of the reasons I want to play Nick Foles at quarterback is so that I can play Dalvin Cook from the Minnesota Vikings playing the Chicago Bears, who have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing running backs, but Dalvin Cook has averaged 30.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 20.6 rush attempts per game and 3 pass targets per game. He scored 42 and 52 fantasy points in the last 2 games, projected at 20.3 fantasy points here tonight. He's 13,600 DraftKings salary and 600 more on FanDuel. So you're going to have to find some value to play Dalvin Cook, but he's clearly got the most upside on the slate. It could be a running game script for the Minnesota Vikings, so I like Dalvin Cook here versus the Chicago Bears. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. If you have the salary, and I suggest that you make some lineups with this player, especially at the captain spot, I like Allen Robinson from the Chicago Bears playing the Minnesota Vikings, who have the second worst defense overall, and they give up the second most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Allen Robinson has averaged 16.9 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 9.6 pass targets per game. He scored 15, 21, and 11 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He's projected at 16.1 fantasy points here tonight. He's 10,800 DraftKings salary. Fantastic matchup here. And actually, if you look at our cornerback wide receiver matchup cheat sheet, you can see that Allen Robinson has the best cornerback matchup on the slate. He's facing off against Cameron Danzeller, who's giving up 0.56 fantasy points per route run against. So Allen Robinson, amazing matchup here tonight. Although he was limited in practice, if he's good to go, don't ignore this play here tonight. The matchup's just too good. He could have a huge fantasy day. So I like Allen Robinson here versus the Minnesota Vikings. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL, MLB is still going, NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Now, if you're looking to save some salary at the wide receiver position, take a look at Darnell Mooney from the Chicago Bears playing the Minnesota Vikings. He's averaging 8.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 6 pass targets per game. He scored 9, 18, and 7 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 11, 6, and 7 pass targets. He's projected at 10.5 fantasy points here tonight. He's $6,600 DraftKings salary. So if you're playing Dalvin Cook, you may not be able to fit in Allen Robinson, so you may have to go with a guy like Darnell Mooney or a guy like Anthony Miller, who's even less salary. So that's why I wanted to play Nick Foles at the quarterback, because I like all 3 of these Chicago Bears starting wide receivers. So I like Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, and Anthony Miller here versus the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, moving on to the tight end position. I'm going to save some salary here at the tight end position. Now, Jimmy Graham looks like a pretty nice play here. He scored 18 fantasy points off of 6 pass targets last game, but his production hasn't been very good before last week's performance. And with all the other high salary players I want to fit in my lineup, I think I'm going to have to save some salary here and go with Kyle Rudolph from the Minnesota Vikings playing the Chicago Bears, who have a good defense overall, and they give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Kyle Rudolph, he's only averaged 4.7 fantasy points per game on the season, only getting an average of 2.4 pass targets per game, but he did get 4 pass targets last game, scored 7 fantasy points. He's projected at 7.5 fantasy points here tonight, and he's only $3,400 DraftKings salary. So he's going to be that salary relief player that's going to allow you to fit the Dalvin Cook or fit the Allen Robinson into your lineup. So I like Kyle Rudolph here versus the Chicago Bears.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.